Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Veterans Roundtable. My name is Joseph Loudon. Today I'm with Jeremy Anderson, one of the co-founders of Veterans Roundtable. And today we kind of want to go in depth a little bit about the purpose of Veterans Roundtable and the motivation behind it. And I'll kind of start off by saying that this was really started with a conversation between me, Jeremy Anderson, and Adam Baratz. Just three veterans, three ordinary guys came together, and we fell in love with a problem, is what we like to say. And that problem is that we all had a difficult transition in many different ways. We all kind of have different things that happen to us. And I'm sure Jeremy will go a little bit in depth about that aspect. But we just wanted to come on and let you see kind of behind the scenes of the interviews that we're going to be doing. We're going to have hopefully some really insightful information and some really incredible people. Jeremy, I'll kind of let you take from there on the next thing we're doing.
Yeah, like I said, or like you said, we've all got our own stories, and we'll get into that one day. I think above anything, we're just really trying to give the veteran transitioning military, whatever you want to call it, that community, we want to give them something that we wish we would have had at that time. Like, I don't know a better way to say it than that. I wish I would have known certain things, certain lessons, whatever. There's just things that we kind of learned the hard way. And I think it's we have a duty to let people learn the easy way. And so that's really what this is. And I know we just jumped into it with a couple interviews in the first couple episodes, but and this is kind of our way of saying, hey, this is what this thing is going to be going forward. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
To kind of let everybody know that we don't consider ourselves professionals, or experts in transition. We're just trying to give whoever watches this the things that we wish we would have known. And I mean, there's so many different things. The community, the people that we've engaged with and we've met that helped us. Our goal is to give them here and get them on and have them speak the same kind of truth to everyone else that they did to us. But if you next kind of thing, Jeremy, next question, if you will.
Yeah, so I want, we had a couple transition stories for the first two episodes, and I want people to know it's going to be more than that. That's kind of where we started because it's a natural start for this kind of audience. I think episode 4 looks like it'll be someone who is 10 years away from leaving the military, and I think that'll be a different and interesting conversation. We have people lined up in all kinds of hopefully, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot for any name, but we have some people that are interested that just have these different perspectives, and they've either started their own business, they're in this kind of specific field, and they're an expert on this thing, and they have a unique perspective. So kind of chime in with that about some of these people that we're working with behind the scenes, and where we want to go with that we're more than just the guy in transition. There's so much diversity to those perspectives,
and that's the big thing, as you said, is perspective. And I think perspective in life in general is huge. And it's kind of funny to me because actually some of the people that have engaged with us are like, the things y'all have been talking about in the first 2 episodes apply to more than just veterans. And that's the kind of the thing that we're about too, is, we're not trying to, say this is just for one certain type of person. We want to give you as many perspectives as possible because we know we're all different. I mean, me and Jeremy, we talk almost every day, but we have differences. Our transition was different. Our perspectives is different. And that's why the Veterans Roundtable, the idea that you have when Veterans Roundtable comes to mind is different people from different backgrounds coming together for a single purpose, and that is just to assist any way we can. And we like to do the legwork and the networking behind it to get the people that we really think can provide the most value and give the most perspective.
And to kind of elaborate that or on that before we jump into the next thing, one of the most interesting episodes I would love to have is like a civilian HR manager that knows nothing about the military. Like, let's have a conversation with them, and
Yeah.
what are their challenges trying to hire military talent? Like, that would be a fascinating conversation to me, and put it in front of people where, we've seen these stories where, veterans or transitioning service members are struggling, and they're like, what is wrong with the system? And well, let's take someone like that and let's have an honest conversation. So
Yeah.
those are the different perspectives we're trying to hit. Like, just get the whole story all in front of people.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think is huge too, because I kind of spoke about in episode 2 about like the language barrier, and I think that is so huge because I've struggled with it, and a lot of the veterans and service members we've spoke to, they say the same thing. It's the translation of military everything into the civilian sector, but also the other side. Like, I want to bring, like I said, as much perspective from as many angles as possible, because I feel like that's how this community that we're trying to build, because that's what it is. Now, the original thought that I had, somebody asked me what my why was and how I'm using that why to help other people, because that's what I wanted to do. My why is to help people. And, Jeremy kind of reached out to me and, told me about a mentor of his that said, fall in love with the problem. And I kind of really dove into that and did some kind of, introspection. And one of the big things was, I looked back at the things in my life, and a lot of the things that I write about and I speak about are things I went through. So I was like, how can I apply that to what we're trying to do now? And I was like, man, my transition was difficult. Jeremy's was difficult. And what can we do to be the connectors of everybody that's trying to help each other in the veteran community, the service members? Because I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between, there's a lot of people trying to do a lot of different things, but they're so spread out. And I think the more we can come together, the one team, one fight thing, we can really, really do something. And that's kind of what the original thought for me was. And then we bounced it off the three of us, and then was like, yeah, man, we're going to run with this. It's a good idea. So,
yeah. So this may be a little bit redundant, but one point I wanted to hit in this, this brief video was, this is more than just your, we're speaking to an audience that is male dominant, right? The military is male dominant. But we want this to be a diverse thing with all kinds of perspectives, and we kind of talked about that already. But a big priority for me, and I know for you as well, is to get some of the female leaders in the veteran space on here, and to talk about the great things they're doing, and show that, like, this really is about community and just varied perspectives. And so I do want it to be very clear, like, this is not just going to be, middle-aged guys coming out of the military, and we're going to get it from all angles. So if you want to run with that a little bit.
And the big thing I think with that aspect is, you can't say that you want community and then not have all the community involved. And one thing I kind of want to speak about too is, and I haven't actually even said anything to you about it, is like the military spouse aspect of it.
Yes,
that's a huge thing in itself too. And I've spoke with a lot of, women veterans, and there's a lot of really incredible, female veterans and service members that are doing incredible things. And I feel like there's a little bit of a stigma behind that aspect of it. And I kind of want to give them, the stage and let them run with it, because, they're doing some incredible things. And I'll be really excited when we get them on. And it's the biggest thing is, like, goes back, and it's redundant again, but perspective.
Yeah.
And the more, my idea, and me and Jeremy kind of agree on this, we never want to be the smartest, most caring, most hardworking individuals in the room. To say that we are would be lying to ourselves. But our abilities are to network and to meet these incredible people that are doing incredible things and building a huge because it's, in my opinion, it's going to be huge. Community of all these different resources and people that are trying to help each other out and bring the camaraderie that we all had in the military, and that everybody says in the military that once you get out, you'll never find it again. My goal is people not be able to say that anymore.
Yeah.
That when you come out, it's not like, you hit the gate and you're out and now you're all by yourself. Right. Because that feeling sucks.
Yeah.
I know, because I felt it, because I had nobody really. I had my mother, and that was about it. And it's hard to do that. And my biggest thing, and Jeremy is too, is to let everyone know that they're not alone. I don't care where you come from, what you did in the military, anything like that. I respect it, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're not welcome at this. And this Veterans Roundtable isn't a table of experts. It's a table of like-minded individuals who are trying to help each other out.
Support. Yeah. And so one thing that popped in my head, I didn't want to interrupt, but like one of my mentors he's a male and he's a military spouse. Like that's kind of a neglected perspective. Yeah. It's interesting to me. He's prior service. He got out. His wife's still in, and she's an officer. And he talked about that, and it's like, man, you don't really think about these kind of unique situations, and that's some of the stuff like I'm interested in getting into and just sharing those stories with people. Yeah. So one thing as we kind of wrap up the next 10 minutes or so is what now? What's next for the Veterans Roundtable? What is this thing going to become? And I guess we can kind of skip over. I was going to say new perspectives, but I think we've hit that at this point.
Yeah.
One thing we are well aware of is we need better audio and video.
Yeah.
First couple episodes, choppy audio, and it's it's amateur hour at its finest. But
if you can't tell, I have a massive glare of Philadelphia. And I don't know if not everybody is connected with us on LinkedIn. Like I said, I transitioned out in 2017. It's been a really rough time. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I'm 100% authentic. I just got the opportunity to basically give my family and myself a better life. So I'm in Philadelphia. My family's back at home. I'm here for 10 weeks. And it's an incredible thing. But yeah, it's amateur hour, like you said, Jeremy. But I think it kind of adds a level of like common ground.
Yeah.
And if we got on here and acted like we were somebody that we're not, I don't think it would connect as much with everybody. You talked about kind of what the next steps are. And me and you spent 2 hours on the phone multiple nights talking about this. And I'll go back to kind of what I said that first day when we were talking about the Veterans Roundtable. I said, I think it's going to be bigger than we could ever imagine. So to try to point to where it's going specifically is going to be difficult. I think it kind of adds to the mystery of what's the next episode going to be. And hey, guess what? We're right there with you. We don't want to like super plan everything out, only because if we're going off our own perspective of how we think we should do it, I feel like it's going to kind of leave out certain things. So that's why feedback, I believe, from everybody watching, and I'm not going to say viewers, like fellow service members, veterans. I don't look at anybody else as like you're viewing me and I'm an expert. We're not coming from positions of authority. We're coming from positions of compassion.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's really important is the feedback. Like me and Jeremy love it. To me, and I say it all the time to people, when I get a comment or a DM or anything like that, and somebody says like, thank you, or that relate to me, people don't realize that's validation. And that's validation for me and Jeremy that like, I'm glad you didn't quit, like self-validation, and that we're actually doing something that means something. And more than anything in this world, that's what this is about. And it's not about me and Jeremy. It's not about so much the people that are coming on. It's about the people who are getting the value from this, because that's all we want. We want to give you value and provide it in as but it's less friction as possible. So that's why we're trying to be on the social media. We're trying to do the podcast thing and the YouTube channel, because we know different people are different. Some people like to listen to podcasts. Some people aren't on LinkedIn. They're on Instagram or Facebook. And our biggest thing is to try to get whatever information or support we can to you, so that you don't have to feel what we felt. That's what it's about. So,
yeah. And just kind of an example. So a friend of ours, she suggested that like a live chat option where, you do this live instead of recording the way we are, and then people could chime in with thoughts, questions, whatever. I don't know if people would want that, if people would take the time to do it, but we can certainly look. It takes some investigation on our part, figuring out what platform and whatnot. But that's a potential option. But really, and you talked about this, it's what does the community want? What can we use this to provide that people want to hear? So I want people to tell us what they want to hear. Who is there a certain perspective that we could bring on that would help? If you're mid-career military, if you're in transition, if you're a civilian hiring manager, is there some kind of perspective or story that we can bring on that might help in some way? So I want people to bring that to us and drive the future of this thing, because we, like we talked about, we don't really know what we're doing. We just know what we want it to be.
And the single, I think I speak for both of us, Jeremy, when I say the single thing for us is fulfillment. It fulfills both of us so much, like we don't care about anything else. And the big thing too is you spoke about, having the live chats and things like that. I'm open to that 100%. Like I said, I'm putting in a little bit of work on Instagram and reaching out to people here in Philadelphia, veteran service members, whoever, and if they want to sit down and talk and chat, I'm open for whatever. And I know we talk about LinkedIn a lot. And the reason why we do that is because, in my opinion, LinkedIn is an amazing platform. It takes all the good things from Instagram, from Facebook, and from Twitter, and pretty much puts them in one area. And there's no other place that I feel like the veteran community is so strong, but also supportive. Because if you go on Facebook, there's some veteran groups on there that will rip you a new one if you ask a question. LinkedIn, it's not like that. And me and Jeremy are, really trying to push, if you're a service member or you're a veteran, let's engage with each other. And if you don't believe me, you should look at the direct messages. Like, me and Jeremy can't miss a day of being on LinkedIn because there's engagement on it, and people are excited about kind of what's happening. And that's what really struck like a nerve for me and Jeremy, was like, people really want to see this. Yeah. And I was like, and they're taking an hour out of their day to watch two guys, stumble over everything, or watch me eat popcorn while we're having an interview, because of the value, and that to me is huge. And the feedback, if whatever it can be, criticism, we're here to take it. If you want to tell me that the glare, I shouldn't be there, I 100% agree with you. If you don't like the color of my shirt, that's different. Try to provide a little bit of feedback that relates to like what we're trying to do to help people. But whatever, we're here to get as much assistance and give as much assistance as possible. So
as we wrap it up, one of the cool moments for me was the guy that I think he very well may be episode 4, James McCravey, good lifelong friend of mine. He's 10 years away from retirement, and he said he enjoyed listening to the first 2 episodes. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have guessed that we were speaking to the transition community. And he ate it up. So and he's eager to come on and sit down with us. He's preparing to sit down with us. Wants the questions ahead of time. Like, that's so cool to me. And to echo some of the things you said, the best way to reach us and give feedback or criticism or tell us how bad we suck is on LinkedIn. but also, for people that maybe aren't familiar with LinkedIn, don't want to mess with it, whatever. I know we're both on Facebook. I'm not active on there really, but I do check it to see if there's anything that needs my attention. And then, of course, comments on the YouTube channel.
That's huge.
We will respond to each and every one of them. We got, 15 subscribers now. So
and we were really excited about that.
Yeah, so and that's what we wanted to do here today, was talk to those 15 people and say, hey, you drive this thing for us. So tell us what you want. Tell us is there some name out there you want us to sit down with, because we can probably get them and hear their story and offer their expertise. Because as we say over and over, we're not experts, but we'll go get you an expert and let them talk to you.
And that's the big thing. And anybody that enjoys podcasts, a lot of them, there's a lot of great commentary, and we wanted to bring that aspect of it to pretty much everything we do. Every time that this whole Veterans Roundtable thing gets brought up, or somebody reaches out to us, I want everyone to feel comfortable. If it doesn't matter what you're struggling with, or you just want to chat, it doesn't matter. Don't ever hesitate and think that you can't send me or Jeremy a message. And because we're here to help you, and we're not just me and Jeremy. We have a lot of connections that are like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? So it's not just a team of two. And we're not the leaders of this huge network. We're just part of it.
Yep.
And we have our strengths of, connecting with people, and we use that to help people. So that's one thing that I wanted to do. And you kind of spoke about, before we wrap up, one thing that really meant a lot to me in episode 2 was, and I'm sure a lot of service members understand this, we had a senior chief in the Navy, still in the Navy, come on and speak about something that a lot of people are afraid to talk about, and that was his fears. And he said the uncertainty. And I feel like that spoke to a lot of people, and I really hope it did. And also, I thought was really cool was it kind of killed the idea that we were trying to be experts, because me and you both took notes. And the thing about it is he's still active duty. He hasn't gone through transition yet, but his perspective was so awesome.
Yeah.
And that's why I was taking notes, because he was speaking about a lot of, like HR policy and things like that. Those are things I don't understand. And a lot of people, I want to get this across too, is this is awesome for us, because every interview, we have some commentary before and things like that. But when you get on here and allow somebody to run and just, really speak their truth, that's huge to me and to Jeremy. So that's kind of why the questions are the way they are. And that one question about, what are you struggling with transition, to me is my favorite question, because then you get to really see that no matter your rank, no matter where you are or where you've come from, we all are facing some things. And it gives I like the ability that it gives those that are close to transition, like Jeremiah, a chance to come on and speak about what they want and what they're looking for. And I have not seen that on any YouTube channel or podcast. And that's why it was so important to me to do it, was give people an opportunity to speak about themselves, and then everybody else can kind of help direct that person to where they want to go. And that's the whole community thing. But I'm not going to ramble anymore. Go ahead, Jeremy, if there's anything else you want to say, man.
No, I hope that kind of clarifies what we're all about. Like, I know we jumped into episode 1 and just started running and really take a moment to do that.
And Jeremiah killed it, in my opinion. And I wish him the best. And we have some ideas with Jeremiah in the future, but we want to kind of let him get his feet planted and things like that, because we all understand that right now in somebody's life, and going through kind of what Jeremiah was going through, was he's in Hawaii. It's not like he's in, stateside kind of where he can go interview for a job in Wisconsin or Jersey. He's in Hawaii on an island. How does that work? How do you fix that gap? How do you interview? You interview via video. So that's another perspective that was really huge. But if you don't have anything else to say, I'll kind of wrap it up by just saying thank you for everybody who has subscribed and who's engaged with us, and for Ken and Jeremiah for kind of taking a step out and speaking things that are somewhat difficult to talk about. And they came on, and I really respect both of them, and I wish them the best. And I look forward to everybody's feedback and criticism, and your comments that the glare is really bright. So
well, that's about it. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm not rooting for anybody, but I hope it's a great game.